Don Lemon has been arrested. And for those of us who still have some brain left, we're saying good. Because if you've been paying any attention to not the mainstream media, you will find out that Don Lemon was not just innocently filming the protest inside the church. He was part of organizing it, because there were some videos pulled up. I think it was Decoy Voice on his stream, where he found a couple of videos from I think it was like a week before the protest, where Don Lemon was, coordinating with this national justice, or it's like a BLM substrate group. And they also show video of him meeting up with this lady just before they go into the church. And also, I don't care. I am not a person that is for organized religion. I do not like organized religion. However, fuck you for disturbing the service and worship of other people. And also, fuck you for your hypocrisy, because your First Amendment right to protest apparently trumps their First Amendment right to practice their religion. How does that work? Also, if the pastor, they claim the pastor of that church was an ICE official. Doesn't matter whether he's an ICE official or not, okay? I don't care. He was in the middle of preaching. So clearly he was not engaged in immigration enforcement activities, right? And churches are always known as places where you can be, safe. They're a sanctuary. And I'm not just talking about in the supernatural sense. I'm talking about, you're supposed to be there to seek refuge for your soul, for your spirit, and for your person. And it's just common decency that you don't go into the church and bring your fucking politics into the church. That's just that, and as I said, I am not a religious person by any means, but that's just a dick move. Why do you have to even if you think the pastor's an ICE official, protest, in front of the church. Go a little bit away from the church and have signs with arrows pointing at the church. Why do you need to be in the church? So, Don Lemon was arrested while he was reporting on the Grammys last night. And his lawyer, according to the BBC, posted to his Instagram today and said that he will be vigorously fighting these charges, which he will be appearing in federal court today to be arraigned. And his lawyer also says that he was just doing what he has done for 30 years, which is be a journalist. No, sir. You were part of organizing that protest, and then you went in to film it for your now independent journalistic career, which, by the way, is he's on par with the amount of views that I get. Okay, he is now relegated to the tiny ass no view realm, and he still thinks that he is important enough to walk around with a camera and do what he's doing. And I don't care if you are the most gold standard journalist from the most gold standard platform. The minute you incite a protest, allegedly, by the way, we have to say allegedly, but we have videos in his own voice. So, yeah. But the moment you create the news, Like, quite literally, the moment you incite the protest and then go, oh, look, I'm doing journalism. I'm doing an act of journalism. I've never heard it put that way before. I am doing journalism. All right, then. The minute you incite the journalism event that you then do, you are no longer practicing your First Amendment rights. You are orchestrating things, and then you're like, "Oh, look at what's going on! Isn't this interesting? Look at the protests that are even going inside of churches. This is how upset Minnesotans are." No, you and a bunch of extremists pulled a bunch of other extremists together and went, hey, let's go and bother these people who are worshiping right now and probably praying for all of this nonsense to stop. But hey, let's not care about that. Let's go in this church and make a whole shit ton of noise and yell at the pastor. And, oh, Mr. Lemon, would you like to come film it? Why, yes, I would. Fuck off. I'm glad he's arrested. I'm very glad he's arrested. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. This whole, I'm just being a journalist. Meanwhile, you're not covering anything with any sort of neutrality. And now you're making your news. And then you sit there and you blast actual independent journalists who are actually risking their lives to report to people because the mainstream media somewhere about 30 years ago lost what it meant to be an actual investigative journalist. So that's what's going on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about Don Lemon's arrest. And like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.